Okay, so yes, now here is the first question, which says a ball is released from its rest position. Okay, so that means the initial speed is 0. Anyway, it's fine. We don't need to know that. From the top of a skyscraper, what is the average speed? Average speed, remember, it's one of the things. So we say the average speed is delta y over delta t, which we say translates to ft2 minus, so ft1 over t2 minus t1. Now, you have to remember just the formulas. If you remember the formulas, you have half the job done. So now we know that we are going to need some function to let, and here we say that whenever it's things that are falling in the air from the skyscraper, you use y as 4.9 t squared. If they don't give you, just remember that is the one you're going to use. Now, what you're going to say is you're going to say let, okay, you're going to say let y be equal to f of t. In other words, we are now going to write to say f of t is equal to 4.9 t squared, okay? And you'd say ft1 will be equal to 4.9 by t1 all squared, okay? Because it's the t only which is squared here. So now you'll be saying, let's see what we have here. For average, we're going to need t1 and we're going to need t2 and whatever. So it says for the first 2 seconds of the fall, that is from 0 to 2 seconds, okay? We need to know the start and the finish. So our ft1 is 0 seconds. So you'll be saying it's 4.9 by 0 all squared, which is 0, okay? So it's 0. Because when you say 0 squared, you still get 0. You multiply by 4.9, anything by 0 is 0. So your answer will be 0. Then you can say, if you wanted, you could have shown how t1 is equal to 0 seconds and t2 is 2 seconds. So they said average speed for the first 2 seconds of fall. Be careful, make sure you know it's from 0 to 2. So here we'll say we now need ft2, which is going to be 4.9 by t2 all squared, which is going to be 4.9 by 2. Remember, it's from 0 to 2 seconds, so it's by 2 all squared, which is 4.9 by 4. And we can just get an answer right away now by punching in the calculator. And if you put in the calculator, you should get 19.6. So now we can quickly just go and say delta y, okay, delta y over delta t. Delta y over delta t is just going to be equal to ft2 minus ft1 all over t2 minus t1, okay? Which is going to be, what is my ft2? 19.6 minus ft1, 0, all over t2, 2, minus t1, 0. And here we can get a solution now. You see? And when we now put it in the calculator and we divide, 19.6 minus 0 is just 19.6. Divided by 2 minus 0 is just 2. Here you get 9.8. So this becomes meters per second, my average speed. And I'll be done. My average speed for the first 2 seconds, I go to B. My average speed during the 1 second interval between 1 second and second 2, between second 1 and second 2. So I can say t1 is equal to 1. Then we have t2 being equal to 2. So now we can come and say that average speed is delta y over delta t. Remember the formula, and which is f of t2 minus f of t1 divided by t2 minus t1, which is going to be, I can put f of t2 I've found. I just need f of t1. You can before putting this formula, I kind of jumped a stage. So before putting this formula, we are going to say f of t is equal to 4.9 t squared, okay? So you can say f of t1, we've already seen f of t1 is now just going to be 4.9 by 1 squared, which is 4.9. And we can say ft2, we saw it already in part A, we found it to be 19.6. So now we can skip a line. Remember to skip a line, okay, to make your things be separated enough. So it's like this, we go down, okay? And we have ft2 minus ft1 over t2 minus t1, which is 19.6 minus 4.9 divided by, here t2 is 2, t1 is 1. So divided by 1. And what are we going to get? We just put it in the calculator. And you remember to just put this in its own fraction. So you say open bracket, 19.6 minus 4.9, close bracket, divided by 2 minus 1, and you should get 14.7. And this would be your final solution, and we are done with this one, okay? We'll go to the next one. Goodbye for now. See you in the next video.